Fishing throughout my life I would go, through phases of different hobbies I'd pick something that interests me, obsess over it for a year or so and then find something new to keep myself entertained. During the summer of 2022 I was big into fishing. About an hour's drive away is a shore house my family has owned for decades that's on the water with a lagoon and small Boston whaler. My friends and I would take frequent trips there to fish and just chill. It was the following October. After something new to keep myself entertained, during the summer of 2022 I was big into fishing. About an hour's drive away is a shore house my family has owned for decades that's on the water with a lagoon and small Boston whaler. My friends and I would take frequent trips there to fish and just chill. It was the following October, after summer, when my two friends Kevin and Arian decided to hit the shore house for a weekend to try to catch some striper as they're abundant during the fall months. Kevin was an avid fisherman, which was a big reason why I got into the whole fishing craze in the first place. Unfortunately, during this time our boat was out of the water due to maintenance, so we'd have to fish off the beach and piers. This was no problem though, as Kevin had all the necessary rods and gear to do so. We got together on a Friday afternoon and I drove us all down. When we got there we fished during the day off of different piers along the inlet. Night rolled by and only one of us had caught fish, which was Kevin. Of course it was just a small bass though, nothing too exciting. Bummed about our luck, we decided to stay up late to fish off the beach during the night. Kevin said he knew a good beach spot about 15 minutes away, which took us down a desolate road with woods on both sides. It opened up into a small gravel parking area, or at least what seemed like one. Kevin said since we'd have to walk a little ways to the spot, we should take everything. Should try and do stand-up comedy. He also smoked a crap ton of pot, which is important for this story. The group of us made our way into the subway unscathed. Rucker and I brought up the rear because everyone else was too scared to do so. It was really dark in there and our frat brothers had only given us 2 flashlights to share. Those flashlights and a single cheap film camera were all we had. At first I was entrusted with one of the flashlights for being in the back, but I quickly gave it up to one of my pledge brothers, who was whining about not being able to see not even 30 seconds into the walk. And Rucker had his first genius idea. He pulled out a pre-rolled joint from his jacket and grinned, motioning for me to stop. I don't have enough to share, he whispered, flicking his head in the direction of the other guys who hadn't noticed what we were doing. Against my better judgment I obliged. Heck, when was I going to get the chance to light up in a subway tunnel again? The two of us smoked while we watched the other guys travel further away from us, their echoing laughter beginning to fade out. We finished the pot. We were a considerable distance behind the pack. Riker's stuff was really strong and I found myself a little more absent-minded than I wanted to be. My tolerance was definitely not as high as his. The two of us picked up the pace to catch up with the rest of the group, but Rucker noticed something in our way. We didn't have a light, so all we could see was the silhouette of someone and the dimly lit tunnel lights. I strained my eyes a little more. There was definitely a person in there, just standing motionless in the middle of the track facing us. It was honestly a little creepy. David called, rare, his voice piercing the silence of the tunnel. The person on the track didn't respond. Just then David's voice called back to us from further up the line. The two of us froze. This person in front of us was a stranger, as if David's voice was some kind of switch. The person on the track started foolin', sprinting towards us. The two of us turned around and bolted back the way we came. Being as high as I was, I felt like I was going to have a panic attack. The figure sprint was eerily silent, as if we were being chased by a shadow. This guy must have been impossibly light. Riker's grip on my arm tightened, his goofy confidence completely gone faster, he hissed, the fear in his voice mimicking my own. I knew we still had some time before the next train came, but running in the wrong direction just felt wrong. Riker must have thought the same thing, because he frantically pulled me to the side, motioning for us to cross the divider onto a different track. In hindsight, we probably could have continued running back to the original station, but I was so high that I just followed Riker blindly. We made it across the divider and sprinted back in the direction of the abandoned station. Things were even more terrifying now, though we had literally no idea when a train was going to barrel down towards us on this track, but at least we were heading in the right direction. I hoped Riker's maneuver was enough to shake whoever was chasing us, but apparently it wasn't. Whoever was behind us also crossed the divider and kept running after us. The problem was there were only a few places where the divider could be crossed, so we'd have to pray we found another one before a train came turning around to the one we just used was no longer an option. My heart was thumping, but Riker and I were able to widen the gap between us and our pursuer. We kept running, though, looking for a place to cross, but with no luck. Riker started cursing repeatedly, and I started feeling like throwing up. We kept running, still searching for a place to cross. Just then the track started vibrating, and we could see light beginning to poke through at the distant end of the tunnel. A train was coming. We were screwed. I considered turning around and just fighting whoever was behind us, but then Riker screamed right here, running toward the divider. By some miracle, the next crossing point was right in front of us, and the two of us crossed back to the original track. We sprinted like another 30 yards and caught up with the rest of the guys who were on the platform. Riker explained the whole thing while I leaned over and threw up. Not even 30 seconds later, the train on the other track zoomed by. Riker and the rest of the guys were ready to confront whoever was chasing us. No one showed up, though we thought the worst, but just then we heard another crazed yell from somewhere in the distance. To this day I still have no idea how that person avoided the train. We waited for the train to pass on our track and then sprinted the hell out of there. In hindsight, Riker and I probably just encountered some homeless guy who was drugged out and might not have even posed a threat to us. The fear took over in that moment, though, which I guess explains the stupid decision we made to cross over the divider. I'm sure the two of us also could have fended that guy off, but I'm glad we didn't have to.